So it's bang on 2 o'clock. So I'm going to start getting going because we do only have a short period of time. So the first thing that I want you to be able to assess is actually how your knee bends, because to lift a leg to get it up onto the stairs, the knee has to bend. And sometimes that's the whole issue. And certainly reading a lot of comments where people were saying my knees really hurt and I bend forward because that helps to release the pain. Let's take a look at that right now. So if you come into standing, and what I do want you to check on standing is a couple of things. Try not to stand really narrow where the feet are together. You want to get about a hip width apart, which people always think means this wide. Actually, it means as wide as the 2 bones on the front of the pelvis. For now, as a rough guide, I just want you to look down between your ankles and think, could you get a small ball between your ankles? And we'll just start there. Then you're going to take a look at your feet and make sure that one foot is not stepped further ahead of the other, because that is a really common habit that I see. And that changes everything about how the hip joint is working. Okay, so now we've got you standing. The first thing I want you to do is see, can you lift all 10 toes up and put them back down? Now, the answer might be no, and that's fine. That would definitely be something to start working on. And sometimes easier to work on that sitting in a chair first and then coming up to standing. But when you lift all 10 toes, if you feel yourself shifting back, that sometimes is a sign that you like to carry your weight here. You're already in a bit of a lean forward. So we're going to pull up all 10 toes. And if you shifted back, I want you to think of staying there and then let the toes come down. Now you can pick whichever leg you want, but on one leg, I want you to let the knee bend, whatever knee bend you can give me, and let it straighten. As you continue with that, here are the things I want you to watch for. So when you bend your knee, does your whole body travel forward to bend the knee? If you touch the front of your pelvis, do you bend your knee by tipping your pelvis forward? And right now you don't need to correct it. We just want to see what's happening. So do we get a knee bend because the whole body has to come forward into that, or the pelvis starts to lean forward into that? And then lastly, where does that knee go when it bends? So if it's a knee that starts to fall in as it bends, I want you to think of the outside edge of your foot, the baby toe side of your foot. And before you bend your knee, I want you to press that side of the foot down and see if you can guide the knee to going out more over the big toe, rather than letting it fall inward. Now, that's not an easy pattern to fix just like that, but I do want you to be really conscious of that. So already you might have picked up that your knee bend is not coming just from your ankle joint and your knee joint and what's happening at the hip. It's coming because the whole body is getting involved, or the knee is taking a certain direction that it shouldn't be. So let's have a look at the other knee now and see what you do on that side. So again, just checking the feet are lined up and then beginning to just allow the knee to bend and straighten. And you don't want to correct anything, because I'm a big fan of you need to see it first before you try to fix it. So firstly, I just want to make sure I don't block my mic. Put your hand on your chest and somewhere on your abdominals, your tummy. And when you bend your knee, none of these places should move forward. So if you can feel that you're moving forward, can you do less knee bend? What actually is available to you if your body doesn't move forward? Because maybe that's the issue, that there isn't much available, which is a whole different kettle of fish that we're not going to address today, but it's good to know that. Then I want you to begin to notice the tracking of the knee. Does it start to fall in? If you sense that, can you push down into that baby toe side of your foot and guide the knee forward over the big toe joint? Okay, so now we've taken a look at how you bend the knee. I want you to begin to look at how you would actually lift that leg to place the foot onto the stair. So whichever leg you're going to pick, take your hand and put it on your hip, on the side of your hip. So I'm literally cupping the top of my pelvis. I can feel the bones sitting there. And what I want you to do is see whether you can pick up this leg and put it back down. Firstly, without doing this, pulling the pelvis up to lift the leg and drop it down. So from the front, if somebody's struggling to lift the leg, they'll often do this. They'll pull the hip up and that carries the leg up and forward. I want you to see, firstly, on your standing leg, can you push down into the foot? We'll cover that in a moment. And then what do you actually get if you don't let the pelvis change position? So this begins to tell you a lot about whether your glutes can actually lengthen to carry the leg forward. Because if I'm going to pull my leg up to go on the step, right now, all of this tissue has to get longer. And if you're somebody that grips your glutes all day long, this might be really tricky to get them to actually lengthen, to come on and do the job that we want them to do. Okay, let's try it on the other side. So hand goes right on the top of the pelvis, almost a gentle push down, and then picking the leg up and dropping it down. And don't be judgy about where the leg can get to, because stairs are generally not that high. So today, we don't need to be looking for a leg that's going to go up a mountain. You just want to notice the moment you pick up a leg, does your pelvis come along for the ride? And then what can you do if you try to minimize that? Okay, so that ability to pick up the leg also relies on you being able to stand on one leg. And it's that standing leg that can't have a glute that's lengthening. So we are going to do a very fast version of one of my most favorite moves. So if you come back to standing again, check in with your feet so they're on their own train track. One isn't step further ahead. And allow both knees to bend. Now, if the knee or knees are falling in, I want you to be very mindful of that. From here, you're going to take your hands and put them right onto your butt, your bum, your derriere, whatever other language you want me to use. And from here, we're going to send your bum backwards. So if you were standing in the middle of the clock, I want you to send your bum to 6 o'clock. And what you should feel under your hands is how this tissue is lengthening. Everything is getting bigger, wider, longer, which is great. That's what we want first. But now we want to bring the pelvis forward towards 12 o'clock. So if I use my hands and I push my pelvis forward, there's that moment now where you should be able to feel how the glutes contracted. They change shape completely. So it's 3 parts. Knees bend comfortably, but they don't fall in as much as possible. Then you know 6 o'clock is behind you. You're sending your bum to 6 o'clock. Now we're not looking to sit down at all. Even if you could go 1,000,000 miles, you still want your bum at the same height as it travels. When there's no more going back, then you're going to bring the pelvis forward and you're using your hands to find that moment where you can feel the glutes begin to contract. Let's do it together one more time. So the knees bend, your bum goes back to 6 o'clock, but your knees don't come with you. See how I'm keeping my knees still in space? That's a big deal, especially for you guys that have knee problems. You really want to watch this because it will help the hamstrings and the quads to do their job more efficiently. Now, as you come forward, can you find that moment where everything begins to contract? So in stairs, obviously we're not going to go back to 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock because that would be leaning forward and that's exactly what I don't want you to do. But what we are going to do is take a foot and really press the foot down into the floor and let it go. So if you can imagine whatever foot you're going to pick, is standing on wet sand. And I want you to begin to push the foot down. Now, if I looked at your footprint, I don't actually want to see your toes. I want to see the ball of the foot from the big toe side to the baby toe side and the shape of your heel and the outside of the foot. And then stop pressing. As you do that again, push the foot down. I want you to notice, what do you feel fire down through the back of the leg, and let it release, or front of the leg. Because if you're pushing the foot down, we're signaling to the brain that this leg is about to hold some weight. So we're going to push the foot down. You're going to keep a hand on your bum cheek on that side. And as you go to pick the other leg up, I want you to notice whether you push the pelvis forward and bend the knee to do it. And I want you to see if you can stop doing that. Can you push the foot down, keep the knee as straight as is available to you, and then pick up the other leg? Remember, we're not worried about how high it comes, and set it down. Okay, so if I'm going to go on to my first stair, that's the first piece of the puzzle that I want in place. Just this moment where I've got my one leg balance, my foot comes up. Now we have to do the one leg balance in motion. So now I would want this leg to be able to push down and lift me up. And this is where it gets difficult, because if you can't generate that push down as well as a push off through the back leg to come straight up and straight down, is when you start to lean forward and you use the weight of you going forward to push you up. So as we don't have stairs available to us, I want you just to take one leg forward and one leg back. Don't give yourself a super long stride for right now, but each foot is on its train track. So whichever is your front leg, the knee bends. Now we've already talked about that. So no falling in, no leaning forward, no moving forward. If you have to do all of that, the stride gets smaller. So the knee bends. Now from head to pelvis, your whole torso moves forward onto that front leg. And you should feel your foot begin to flatten and get heavy, and then you drift back. So this is the tricky part, because when I teach this in class, I many times will see this whole habit of everything comes forward or everything leans forward. And this might be the part you need to practice to begin to fix this. So head, ribs, pelvis all travel together, or you can think cheekbones, collarbones, rib cage, pelvis, everything travels on top of that front leg. So this might take a lot of practice. We only have a couple of minutes left. So we're going to say that your body weight now is on top of this front foot. And if it is on top of that foot, this foot is now on the ball of the foot. If you still have that foot stuck down, you did not move your body weight forward, or your stride is super short, and that's something to work on over time. But if I've got my knee forward and my torso has traveled, I've got everything stacked up, the next part would be that lift of this leg up onto the stair. So my front leg, the foot has to push down, the knee has to straighten. So remember, with a bent knee, my bum cheek on that side has the tissue really long. So now when I push down, I straighten the knee, that glute has to contract. It has to stay contracted until I've brought this leg up onto the stair, and then the whole thing starts again. So if we just run through that one more time, and maybe if you've been doing it on one leg, switch over with me now. So we've got a front leg. I'm not going to say a back leg because I got lambasted for that. So I'm going to say a front leg and a behind leg. And then from here, head, ribs, pelvis, all moves forward together and comes back. There's no knee falling in. Maybe there is, but we're trying to work on guiding the knee straight ahead. None of these things can be just fixed like that, because it can be many years that you got into this pattern. So when I'm in this position, now all the tissue here is long. And if you feel it, you can feel like it's soft. It's not really doing anything. But on the other leg, if that knee has fully straightened, you should be able to feel how that side is different, is contracted. So we've got long on the bent knee side. I'm going to say short on the other side. If you're a movement professional, don't lambast me. I'm just trying to make things as simple as possible. So now we have to swap everything over. This long side requires my foot to push down, my knee to straighten. So this all now is beginning to contract, which allows me to lift this other leg up and allows the glutes on that side now to lengthen to bring the leg forward. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions at all, please put them in the comments. If you hopped on through the live, I have another one literally starting in, well, less than 15 minutes in Instagram. So if you're on Instagram and you want to do this little class again, hop onto there. My handle is just Gail Dean, G-A-I-L-E-D-E-A-N. Just click follow and you'll get the notification. Otherwise, put your questions into the comments. Give me any feedback in the comments. Just don't make it nasty, please. No, I really don't need comments on my clothing, my attire, whatever else. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. And I am so grateful to each and every one of you that has followed me this year and is coming along on this journey to try and get walking to be something that you can continue to do into a ripe old age without it being a pain and without it feeling a struggle.